Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's that special time again, where we all gather and come together as one, where we all sit and gather and listen to the words of BGST. Now, let me ask you fine folks this. Do you know where you can find Big Gamer Small Talk? I'll tell you where you can find it. You can find it on Next Gen 720's YouTube channel. You may even find it on the Crapgamers. I don't know. Maybe something crazy will happen and you'll find it on that fine brother's channel, Xbox 448. Maybe in K-Mega 405. Right. Team Dog, he might be there too. Chris Steele. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we gather together at Sundays at 7 p.m., it's time. What time is it? It's time that we put our hands together and clap for Big Gamers, Small Talk Brothers and Sisters, BGST!
Woo, yeah, BGST! I love that intro, man. Especially the Chris Steele part, man. It gets me real excited and happy. You know, it's so far I gotta say, for me personally, good day. I mean, it's to be determined if the Cowboys have lost, but the Ravens won, and of course the Steelers lost. 5 picks for Big Ben, including 2 pick six, which I kind of laugh at. That guy is so funny. But anyway, thank you guys for coming out tonight. Bad news is Next Gen 720 isn't here. I think this might be a rare time that he's missed BGST. Usually he doesn't, but he's got some health issues and things like that. I'm sure he's probably gone into it a little bit with you guys. I'm not going to go ahead and divulge everything, but hopefully he'll be back with us next week. We got Tim Dog here. What's up, Tim?
How you doing? Happy to be here.
Hell yeah, you sound good, man. Mike sounds good and all that stuff. We got K-Mega 405. What's up, bro?
What's happening, man? Over here, sweating bullets, man. My Rams is driving, trying to get the game-winning touchdown against these sorry-ass Seahawks. Go, Rams Nation! Hit them again! Hit them! We on the 20-yard line, 29 seconds. Let's fucking go! I mean, let's go! Dang it, let's go! Let's go! All right.
And we got Xbot 448.
Yo, man, after that intro, I got to be known as that fine brother, Xbox
448. Yeah, man.
What's going on, everybody? Yo, I pulled myself away from Destiny 2 just to cut it up with you guys about gaming and check out everybody in the chat. Let's do this, man.
Heck yeah, man. We appreciate everybody here. And we got Chris Steele. Oh, what's up? You know, yeah, I'm wondering, but it's you, Chris Steele. In fact, I started seeing some people go, "Oh man, you do good on the podcast. I'm gonna start following you now." So hopefully, you get some followings and things like that because you jumped right in, man. You're doing a good job.
I try my best, but unlike my Lions, we will win today. We won't try to play from behind because we'll always be ahead. See, here's a Lions fan. We have a saying. We call them the SOL, the soul. Some people may think of SOL as out of luck, but we say same old Lions.
Oh, man. Same old Lions. No, you know what? I watched that game. That was a good game as well, man. I thought it was pretty close, man. It's actually today's football games have been outstanding. And I know there's wrestling on later today as well, so I'm excited for that.
100 is feeling sick right now, man. Them Ravens win in these.
Oh man, man. And you know what the funny thing is, because no disrespect to him or any Raiders fans, because they're gonna go, Carr was out. Look up the Ravens injury report and then get back to me, kids. You know what I mean? Seriously, that Carr didn't give up 30 points. You know what I mean?
My bad for squealing, man. Cooper Kupp just dropped the game-winning touchdown. Oh my God! There's only 8 seconds left. I'm losing my mind here, man. Let's go.
He might be freaking out on air, folks. Calm down, K-Mickey. Calm down. Okay, so we might as well start off big news, which this would have been huge news if it would have been on Xbox. Say Phil Spencer steps down as president of Xbox, but no, Andrew House steps down as president of PlayStation, and it's like chirps. You're not hearing anything about it. For me personally, I think that he got to the top and sees that there's probably not anywhere else to go. So basically, he left, and now somebody else is in charge, and it's kind of a big shakeup. And there's not a lot of people really making a big deal of this. Everybody's just like, oh, this happens, it happens. It's not a big deal.
It definitely happens. Jack Trenton, you got that dude Boyles or whatever, and now you got Andy, man. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious too. Like, what's going on with this? You know, like, is this something that that they'll recover from? Do you think this is a big deal? Like, Tim, I know you probably got some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I thought it was a little strange how he just went out. You know, obviously, if this was an Xbox thing, we would hear end of Xbox. We would have everyone making outlandish claims. But you know, Sony's in a position where, you know, obviously they're doing well. But I thought it was curious, to be honest. I don't know what prompted it, but I don't think it's as you know, I don't think it's there's always something behind it, whether maybe they weren't happy with some of his decisions or they need to go a different direction. I don't know the new guy that they hired, but for me it was definitely a little strange timing too. Usually I would think you know, they could have waited to the end of the year. Give him a send off. I mean, they wrote on the PS blog, you know, they basically detailed his career where he started with PlayStation. He was there from the beginning. But yeah, I think that there might be a little bit something behind that. Maybe if PSVR, you know, played into it. Maybe they think that they need a new push. Maybe I think Nintendo's emergence with the Switch is definitely something that's sticking to them, because you know they're losing to Nintendo, or their market share is being attacked, especially within you know, Japan and overseas. So I do think that it has something to play with it. Do I think it's a huge deal? Not really.
Probably not.
You know, but the fact is that you know, there isn't the doom and gloom and the you know, the microscope that's put on Sony that there is Xbox. That pretty much went without fanfare. It was just like, hey, you know.
Yeah.
Do you think he parlayed it into another job where it pays more because the PlayStation 4 has been doing so well?
Well, they're saying he's going to still stick on, but what that usually, they're saying he's still going to stick on, but usually when they say that, they usually drop off in 3 months. Like you'll hear he's going somewhere else.
Kind of like a severance package.
Yeah, he's making sure the transition goes smooth and things like that. So
so
he'll
still be employed, but he'll be employed while he sits at home because they don't want him around.
They're saying he's on the board still, the SIE board. But you know, you'll know if this was kind of something that came about that wasn't suspected in a couple months. If he goes somewhere else and he has like a high-ranking job, it's not going to be with Xbox. I'll tell you that right now,
guys.
Yeah.
But I think I got a big chunk of the answer here when it comes to this, because it deals with who is replacing him. This guy John, who was the head of the PlayStation Network, right? Overran all that. He was the creator of the PlayStation Store as well. So all these PlayStation fanboys out there, get ready for that huge digital push when it comes to the PlayStation. Probably going with the PS5 from here on out. Now, I got to agree, like him just dropping off, saying effective immediately, that's a little sketchy right there. But I think what's going on here is Sony, because I know I've said this time and time again, both companies eventually want to go all digital. They eventually want to have, you know, the PlayStation brand be a service, and I think this is that big step where they're forcing themselves to go forward in that direction. Now I know it was last night, K Mega had an awesome theory when it came to why it was so abrupt and why he just dropped out real quick. Yo, Mega, you remember what you said last night, man?
Absolutely not.
No, you're talking about our boy Killer Phil's promotion, man, and what that could have meant on the other side of the fence. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did say that. I'm sorry. I'm a little upset.
Get away from that football.
Rams lost it, man. Young Gosselin, as I call him, Jared Goff. He had to strike. Cooper Kupp dropped the ball. But that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Good game. We tied for the lead in the division. Ram Nation stand up. Okay. Now, this is the thing about it. Yeah, I did say that, but it also comes to I just want to address this. I've addressed this. This will be the third time. How quiet PlayStation Nation is. It is. You got to give them props for this, because you do, because for the main reason, if this was something that happened with Xbox, let's just say that Mikey Barra stepped down. It is doom and gloom from every pro Xbox podcast to video, everything. Oh, what's going to happen now? Xbox is going to sell the division. It's gone. We're talking about the president. This dude had a high standing there, and he's been there for 27 years, and he's gone. And PlayStation Nation is just like, all right, well, we still number one in sales. That's it. And that is crazy to me. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Xbox Nation needs to get more sterner stuff, because when things like this happens, and is it a big deal? It could eventually turn out to be a big deal, but that will come over time. I just feel that Phil Spencer's situation maybe kind of led to that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe kind of had some things like, because Predator said it really good as well. Big shout out to him. He said that it could have a potential, like he's seen Phil Spencer get a promotion, and he's like, I've been here doing the hard work, and I might want a promotion too. And the heads of Sony was like, no. And you get no promotion, and so it's like a step down. I'm done. And so it could be anything. It could be just tired. He's ready to retire, move on to something else. It could be a lot of things. But we will not actually know until later on here in the future.
Yeah.
Is Andrew House considered a gamer by PlayStation fans?
I don't think so.
I don't think anybody at Sony is considered a gamer by any fan out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's kind of like, I don't really consider Greenberg to be much of a gamer either. You know what I mean? But I mean, he's an Xbox dude. I'm sure he has an Xbox and hops on there once in a while. But he's like he's the marketing guy, But as having a president of Xbox, that Phil Games, and as a president of PlayStation, Jack Tretton never picked up a controller, and that Andrew House never picked up a controller.
Well, we know Jack Trent never picked up a microphone and dropped it properly.
Oh yeah, he didn't even know. He didn't know what he was talking about. Yeah. But I mean, it just goes to show you. It just goes to show you the differences between the two companies. Like I can remember when Matrick was gone. Remember what a big deal that was? Yeah. Even though he was the guy that just basically ruined the Xbox.
Yeah. Donnie D.
Yeah, Donnie D. Shout out to Z, man. Donnie D. right there. That you are. Yeah.
Donnie D's a messiah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He brought him profitability, guys. I mean, what about that? Yeah. So I mean, bacon grease. Yeah.
Yo, guys, to be very honest with you, man, you don't really have to read too far into the tea leaves here when you look at like who they're replacing him with, though. Andrew House was mostly a hardware guy, man. He was next generation PlayStation. He's been there since PlayStation was created, and now you're replacing him with a guy that deals in strictly digital things, man. So I hope the PlayStation fan base out there, I hope them fanboys, they love digital content, they love game streaming and stuff like that, because that is now moved to the forefront of the PlayStation division, guys, and that's just the way it is, man.
I think it's safe to say that more than likely PlayStation 5, I would not be surprised if it's all digital, just to bring the cost down a little bit. They pretty much already said PlayStation gamers don't want a 4K Blu-ray player. They don't even use their Blu-ray players, apparently.
Yeah,
if they have a system that's all digital after what they did and pulled them stunts in 2013.
I know, right?
Look, man. Oh my God! I will have.
Hey, Mega, would you like a plate full of DRM?
Oh my man, plates. A buffet of DRM.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
It was cool, guys.
DRM is the best. We cried about it with Xbox, but we love it. You can't play the PlayStation. You can't even use the Blu-ray player in the PS4 if it's offline. And most games require an update. And your favorite games are Destiny, and that requires you to be online. And most games require a huge patch anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
I just gotta say, I never thought Destiny 2 would take up so much of my life as it has, man. I gotta give a shout out to Mooch because, dude, I am a Destiny 2 fan now. Just saying.
Well, yeah, I mean that's cool. That game isn't exactly for me, but I mean I do understand why people like it. Yeah, I think that it's a fine game. For me, the grinding and you gotta like playing with friends and setting up stuff and strikes to take hours or whatever. Ain't nobody got time for that. You know what I mean? Like I wish I did, but I just don't. I think it's a good game though. I like for Destiny fans, man. Congratulations, you guys got a gem right there. Just for me, it's not something I'm gonna put a lot of time into. But anyway, by the time I got back from the hurricane, I was level like 2. Everybody else was level 300 or 275 or something, you know. So I mean, that's the way those games go. You know what I mean? But it's all good because there's plenty of games for me to play right now. Anyway, obviously.
Forza.
Forza Motorsport 7, right? What do you guys think about this, right? I think it sits at an 87 on Metacritic. I think that's criminally low. First of all, when you look at the ones that gave it kind of mixed reviews or a 7.5 or whatever, the main reason they got it was because they kept on saying microtransactions, right? But the funny thing is, it has a loot system, but it's not microtransactions. You can't spend real-world money on anything in Forza Motorsport 7 right now. So everybody was just outraged over this, like, oh my gosh, it's so bad. Like, this is something that's going to be in a lot of games in the future. Obviously, Shadow of War. There's a lot of games that use this kind of stuff, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and it's a way for these big AAA type games to recoup some of the money without you guys having to pay a big extra cost. Now, with that being said, the loot crates aren't a big deal, but something that was a bit of a kind of a big deal was the VIP pass, which in the past, whatever you got in the VIP pass, those perks that you used, the consumables, lasted forever. Like, in the way they set it up now without telling anybody, they run out after like 25 races or whatever. So, I mean, you spend $100 for a game with the VIP pass and you expect it to be the same because they worded it the same as before.
Right.
But they did, in record time, rectify that as well. They're like, okay, we're going to go ahead and gift you guys that have the VIP pass all this money, cars. We're going to fix it. The consumables are going to be good forever again. Our bad. You know what I mean? So at least they admit it.
Yeah, but it's funny how you don't hear like them being praised for fixing their screw up.
Yeah, because everybody's like, they shouldn't have done it in the first place.
Yeah.
You
But
know
see,
what I
here's
mean?
the other thing too is like when you had me on Xbox Nation, I full on thought that it was microtransactions. When you hear microtransactions, one would assume that you're spending real money, not in-game currency. So when I heard everybody complaining on Twitter and NeoGAF and wherever, and they kept saying microtransactions, I'm like, wow, that stinks. And then when you guys told me on Xbox Nation that's not what it is, I'm like, wow. So then I think the media as a whole and everybody else should probably come up with a different word than microtransactions because that's not what it is.
Yeah.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah, exactly. What it is basically is you earn the stuff. You don't even need any of that stuff. It's like it helps make the game better because you can like double down and use some of the perks and things like that, the consumables, but you don't need it. Like you could just play the game. You don't even have to do all the races in each tier. It's like I think you have to do 3 championships series, which is 15 races, and then you win that championship. So it's not even that much. Now there's options to do more for sure, but like people that are like making this game out to be horrible because it has these loot boxes, those, you know, like I rated the game. I thought it's the perfect racing game in my opinion. It's got dynamic weather. It's got a great car collection, over 700 cars. You know what I mean? Like the tune-ups, the customization.
Single player is very good.
The single player is amazing. The multiplayer is great. There's so much to do. Like the microtransactions, or there aren't even microtransactions. The loot boxes shouldn't have anything to do.
Even got you saying it,
with
man.
that. Yeah, I know, right? Well, I mean, that's because look, there was that one. Even the VG 24/7 one was like, it feels like a free-to-play game that you're paying $60 for. You know, like people are outraged over this stuff, and I don't get it at all. I just don't get it at all. I don't think that it's
because they're not playing the game. They haven't played the game. They're just going off of just somebody else saying something they may have seen the loot crate boxes. Yeah, and then they just went on this tangent, which was absolutely garbage. It was just an absolute lie. It's not even available yet to where you could spend money. It's not even open. I'm a level 8 right now with my tier. I've been put over 50+ hours into this game.
I can't let Mega beat me up.
Oh, I'm gonna wear you out, bro. I can't look. I put Cuphead down. I put Path of Exiles down. Madden, NBA 2K. I ain't been playing anything else but this game, and I've only bought 2 loot crates, 2, and that was just last night because I wanted to get one because I had like $2 million. It is absolutely it's just insane. The things that should be praised about this game is the new change of the career system. I love that. It's a lot better. You know, like you said, the dynamic weather. This is the most beautiful racing game I've ever seen in my entire life. In the PC gamers that are complaining about it, you know why they're complaining about it? Because they don't have HDR 4K on their rig. It was running on my rig. It looks good, but if you but only got a 1080p LED monitor and you miss it. You can turn everything up all you want to, but without that HDR 4K, it doesn't shine like it does off of my television. I mean, this game is amazing.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing, man. The only thing I'm gonna speak my mind here. The only thing that Turn 10 did wrong with the VIP thing was they didn't put the change in the description when they talked about it.
Right.
They screwed up. They screwed up at that.
All right. I had the VIP with Forza Horizon 3 and a few other Forza titles throughout the years. And to be very honest with you, it's more money than you even need. Like the Don is sitting on like over $6 million in Forza Horizon 3.
The Don, for those of you who don't know,
Dude,
yes.
He has all the cars he wants, everything like that. It's actually, to me, in my opinion, the VIP from previous years is too much. Now, I hope what they do is they learn their lesson, and then in the next Forza Motorsport, they announce the change, but then they do what they were trying to do this year. Because 25 races of double XP, double the credits, you get limited edition cars every month. You get limited edition driver outfits. You get a bunch of stuff for the VIP. You don't need double the credits throughout the life of the game. You are just some sweet tarts who have been spoiled when it's come to credits, and you want more than you can handle. Right. Is what it is.
That's exactly that's the thing that pisses me off more than anything is the fact that there's people out there that don't want to grind. They just want it right there. They want all the access to this and that. And okay, give us the VIP little cards and give us, maybe 4 every month or every quarter, every couple of weeks, whatever that you want to do with it. That's fine, so you can generate more money. But the reason why they were limiting this is because they wanted you to play on most of these races, like the NASCAR, those Forza, the Formula E's, those electric cars.
Oh, I hate those.
It was so fun. The only thing I didn't like them Doom buggies. Them Doom buggies suck to me. Anything and everything else, I've been enjoying this game. Look, I have not enjoyed a motorsports game like this or played it like this since GT3, and that's saying something because that was my favorite of all time. Not until now.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this much. It started off as a 93 Metacritic, and then the VIP stuff started on Saturday, and a lot of reviews in progress. But I'm going to show you how critics are very influenced by forums, by Reddit, by NeoGAF, and that type of stuff when they start getting this stuff going. The last, I would say, 10 reviews on Metacritic have been a 7 from Critical Hit, mentions microtransactions. A 7 from M3 mentions microtransactions. About 5 8s, okay, all mention microtransactions, and a 78 from the latest was Game Informer, and yes, it talks about microtransactions. Some people, even in some of these reviews, have said that they are forcing you to use these loot boxes and stuff like that.
They force you, like Microsoft forces you to do 4K updates, right? Even though that's complete nonsense. They aren't forcing you to do anything. You know what I mean? You don't have to use them. I can tell you what, right now, when I first started the game and you didn't have really any money, I didn't use loot crates for the whole first championship.
You don't have to use loot crates at all. You can buy your cars.
This is what goes on though, and this is the type of thing that catches fire, and it inevitably, you're talking about legitimately a game that's, I would say, an 89 legitimate Metacritic. I mean, I could see maybe taking a point. People are taking 2-3 points, 2 points off of this, but let me say this point. It's about an 89 Metacritic, but it's been affected 2 to 3 points.
It should at least be 94, 95. But here's the thing: you want to hear something crazy? One thing you'll never see from Gran Turismo Sport is double the credits, because they only have 180 cars. You play it for like a week and get all the cars in the game, and you'd be done with it, man. So
it's 158 cars. I put the list. Yeah, it's 158 cars, and DLC is coming, and
you won't get double the credits there, man.
And they're saying that it's going to be free, but Are they really? I don't know. And you know what I'm saying? Does the game has dynamic weather? Not from my understanding.
No dynamic weather in Gran Turismo Sport. In fact, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you are interested in just trying out Gran Turismo Sport, you guys can download there's a demo that's starting tomorrow.
Yeah, the night.
A beta. Yeah, tonight you're able to download that. It's 43 gigs, and then you're going to be able to do it. This actually enables me to do a Capital Foundry between that game. That way I don't have to actually buy the game. I could just compare the two off my Pro, and then of course Forza Motorsport 7, which is off the S. But I can't wait to try that thing out on the X as well. Like, that's what I'm really excited for. I know that it's kind of an interesting situation where these games are coming out, and it feels like these should be out on the X already. Like, I don't know. Like, I wish they could have found a way to get the X out now. You know.
I hear people like, I'm waiting for the X and stuff like that. Yeah, I feel personally, it's your preference. You do what you want to do. But if you have an Xbox now and you have the game, you're still going to be playing the game November 8th. All right. If you're picking up the X, I would say play the game now. It still looks drop dead gorgeous on your Xbox One. I got the Fat Boy here and it looks absolutely amazing. I do want to say, somebody in the chat said that, basically asked us what we're complaining about when 7 is a good score. Here's the deal. I am a race simulator fan. I love racing simulators.
Watch that word. Some people say it's not a simulator. It's a
shit. Here we go. But I've been playing it since the first Gran Turismo, and when they can come out with a game that has as many tracks as this does, dynamic weather, over 700 cars, you have so much freedom in how you spend your credits within the game. You can either roll the dice and go with the loot crates, or you can go and buy the specific cars that you want throughout all this. A tier system when it comes to your garage, which unlocks it. There's so much in this that makes it so much higher than a 7. You see what I'm saying? That's the problem,
Yeah, I agree. This is very, very much better. So much better. I mean, 87, that's not bad. But the fact of the matter is that, I know this game should be easy 90, 91, 92, something like that. So the fact that it was taken down due to the fact that people were making it seem like there was microtransactions. And again, this is the problem with the media. And if Mutra's here, he'd be saying the same thing. Stop going to these places. It is unreal the level that these people go after. You know what I mean? Look. Let's wait for the review scores on GT Sport, and then it's going to be more than obvious, right? Because Forza Motorsport 7 has the content, has the tracks, has dynamic weather. It does so much. It does way more than GT Sport does.
GT Sports cars have damage or no?
I think it has very limited. It's cosmetic. Yeah. Like, they've never really done that very well. Yeah, and the physics have always been awful in GT games. Like, really, really awful. That whole series hasn't been really relevant since, like, the PS2. I think they had one in the PS2 era that was pretty good. But once Forza Motorsport came out, and it's such a game that's really has a wide audience, right? If you're a sim racing fan, you can have that be the toughest sim racing game around. Right, with full-on damage, where you got to stop at the pit stop, whatever, right? Full-on sim. Or, if you like more of the arcadey style of Horizon, you can set your bumpers to more suit that style, right? Yeah. With assists and stuff like that. It's up to you. But I love the fact that they give you the option to do that. And to me, that's why Forza Motorsport is always going to be the better option and things like that for gamers. As we got over 400 watching us right now. Thank you, guys. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Rocking out with BGST. Heck yeah.
I will say that. Hold on. Let me just say this.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Right now, it's where it stands because there's a lot of competition right now. There's going to be Need for Speed that's coming. The Crew is going to be coming in the beginning of next year. Project Cars 2 is the second best racer out there. It's catching up closely. And it surpassed GT in my opinion. I mean, it's just because it's got dynamic weather. It don't have as many cars. The career mode is excellent. Namco Bandai has done something special with this game, and I'm really excited for the future of it. It's still not there. It's still not on Forza's level yet. I know that there's some people that wants to say because the driving is still not quite there, but man, right now, if there's going to be a Japanese racer that's going to be, I forget who the guy who actually makes the game, but I know it's published by Namco Bandai. Said they're going to be the ones that's going to take the reins from GT, because they're doing that game is great, and they're the ones right behind. And Forza is in the driver's seat doing the thing. And if they got Project Cars to worry about, I would think that would be better competition than GT at this point.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like Project Cars is doing very well, though. I don't know anybody that has it. I haven't seen anybody play it. It's come out, right? Like, I can see that it's been out. Yeah, the game's out. Just I don't think anybody's really playing it. Like, to me, the first one wasn't very good. I think it looked good, but it just didn't really play that well.
I never see commercials for Project Cars.
That's because it's kind of an indie game, really. I mean, I know like it's I think the first Project Cars was actually crowdfunded, and then the second one was made off of the success of the first one. So the first one did good enough, and then of course we got it as a free Games with Gold game. But I'm not exactly sure how well the second one's doing. I'm not sure at all. But hey. You know, Forza is the king of racers, and it has been for a long time. Anybody that thinks otherwise, just look at the facts. I mean, look at even Forza Horizon 3. I think that Jamie Moran constantly posted that thing's in the top like 5 over there in the UK still. You know what I mean? Like 80 weeks later. Yeah. You know, like to me, that's like between that and Forza Motorsport 7, you have the pinnacle where you have Forza Motorsport 7 add dynamic weather for the first time, and then you have GT Sport remove dynamic weather. That's a step backwards, you know? Like, we've had 3 Forza Motorsports and 2 Forza Horizons before Sony could even get their franchise racer out the door this generation, and that is exactly what this generation has been about in a nutshell.
Greatness awaits.
And waits. Yes, I mean, it's such an interesting thing. It's an interesting time for sure. If you guys haven't really checked out Forza Motorsport 7, get it. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of customization options for you. No matter what level racer you are, it's still going to be a lot of fun.
So real quick, I was thinking about those loot boxes again, right?
Yeah.
So what you get in those loot boxes is you can get cars and you can get outfits for your driver, correct?
Yeah,
yes.
and rare name tags and stuff like that.
So maybe that's why people are complaining, is because they think when they win the races, they should be getting those things instead of buying them from the loot.
There are races where you win cars as well. Plus, you win credits every time you win a race where you don't have to get the loot boxes. You could go straight to the car dealerships and buy the car you want.
But I think what I mean more so is like the driver outfits and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the driver outfits, you have to get those in
so I think maybe a lot of these kids think that they should get that stuff from the winning race.
I just think it's something that caught fire. And listen, I think that they screwed up with the description with the VIP. The VIP, they didn't like you used to be able to. Wrong. Yeah, you used to be able to like modify your mods, and if you made it tougher, you would get more credit. Stuff like that they took away. I don't think it was as nefarious as everyone's making it out to be.
You know what this is, man? And I gotta say, I am sick and tired of this. Anytime a quality title comes around, whether it's Quantum Break, all of a sudden people started talking about resolution. When it was Sunset Overdrive, it's like, well, how do you play the game? Like, do you have to grind and then shoot? Do you walk on the ground?
That's the thing. I felt like they were going for, hey, play the game. Here you can use these loot games if you want a game. I don't feel like they were, the evil entity that everyone's trying to make him out, that they're trying to steal the money. It's just
they find that one thing. They find that one thing with a quality Xbox title, and they try to run home with it. They try to get everybody to put that doubt in their mind when it comes to that title, and it's hurt titles like Quantum Break and stuff like that when it came to resolution, which we all know. We all played the game. Fantastic game. Didn't need all of that backlash and all of that bullshit that happened, and they're trying to do it again with Forza Motorsport 7, man.
Raider. I mean, listen, it goes on. It's inclusive, I guess, with whatever Xbox is. But with that being said, Xbox has to also realize when they're going to do that type of stuff that or they're going to have it off of Steam, and they're going to have it as an XBA, and they're going to have people gunning for them, and they have to be super cautious. That's unfortunately the climate that it is what it is. But I do think that they're paying the price. I think it's maybe a little bit of an unfair price because they did reverse it. They did fix the things. They still haven't charged $1. I don't think there's microtransactions yet that you
They're coming. Microtransactions are going to come down the line. And here's the thing: when it comes down to it, they didn't put it in the beginning of the game because the people who are going to buy the game on release, they're like hardcore racing fans and stuff. They want to grind and stuff like that. Now, if you go like 4 months down the line and you pick up the title, all of a sudden, all your friends have that have played it from the beginning are so far ahead of you that they're giving you the option of using your money for that. All right. But that's not now. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's talking about it now. It's taking hits in reviews now, and it's not even there yet.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, there is no real competition for Forza, so the media makes it look like there's competition. Remember Drive Club was the Forza killer?
Right.
How'd that work out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Killzone's the Halo killer.
Yeah, exactly. All the stuff, and the Order 1886 was the Gears killer, right? Because it was a third person, like, pop and lock type of shooter. But, I mean, that never...
Pop and lock, I can do that.
I know, right? I can, too. I have that video somewhere, man. Don't ask me about that. But, yeah, man, that's right. Crapgamer doing it in the club. At the club. Yeah, I don't know, man. I know.
I was gonna play that. I was gonna play that little song in the that I played in the pre-chat, but I don't know if you'd catch a YouTube hit.
I wouldn't do that. Microsoft in talks to extend PUBG PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds exclusivity. So like Tim, you might know a little bit about this, but in case you guys didn't know, it's an exclusive to Xbox One, at least for a little bit. Basically, it looks like Fortnite ripped them off completely, and we don't know for sure, but that's the rumor. I mean, they're kind of pissed off about it.
Wasn't that the?
They might take him to court over this, right? Yeah. Because they work together, and then all of a sudden, Fortnite puts out a PUBG type of game and keeps using the term PUBG. You know what I mean? So I'm not really sure exactly what's going on with that, but they're kind of angry. And then PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, the guy did an interview where he's like, we're in talks with Sony to bring it to PS4. Right. Do you think that could possibly just be to try to get Microsoft to up the ante a bit? What is your thoughts on that? Like, I'm very curious on this because I think Microsoft should try to, if you're going to lock it up, lock it up. Like for me, if it, whatever you're going to do, if you're going to. Yeah. If you're gonna lock it up, lock it up. Like if it's a year, then it's a year. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think like this is a big deal, and you're lackluster on content. Just spend some money. Yeah.
Well, from my take on the reason why he let out with Bloomberg, I do think that the developer Bluehole was a little insecure with that whole situation in regards to that. Now, I understand maybe there was illegal and they feel like they were stolen from it. And I just felt like they gave them more publicity. And I do think that they got a little insecure about the whole situation where they said, hey, we have a situation here where this game, we got to have it on all platforms. But I do think that with that being said, that the talks did ramp up because as if you remember, right, like 2 days later, then you had that they've been in talks with Microsoft. Now, my opinion on this, and I don't know anything inside on this, I do think that Microsoft's making a strong play for it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they in a roundabout way, maybe not in a way, they said, hey, would you ever consider selling outright? I mean, the market cap right now is I would say, a little bit too much. It's like 4.6 billion, so they would have to come around there. But there's going to be some money thrown around, and I think Microsoft is looking to make this game an XBA title that they can leverage as an Xbox semi-exclusive. It's not going to be exclusive, but I do think that you're looking at, they're probably looking at a year exclusive, and who knows, maybe more of a type of thing where they say, hey, let's, do you want to not worry about any of this stuff, and we'll take the whole game, and we'll do what we did, and you can come on with us, and you have all this money in your pocket. I mean, that's the type of stuff that businesses, that's what happens in business. Now, if they want to sell, I can't put myself in Bluehole's position. But with that whole situation, I could tell you that Bluehole did act insecure, in my opinion, with the way they went about the whole thing with they started talking about it and they put out that letter. I think that it gave more publicity to Fortnite than, you know,
which they hit over 7 million users on Fortnite after that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
they hit it.
Yep, it's
Hey,
like
can I say something? Not to cut you off, Crap. I got a prediction. If PUBG comes to the PS4, it will be the first cross-platform game.
Oh, damn.
You think so?
I think they kind of have that power to leverage that.
I mean, they could. Like honestly, look, here's a funny story, right? Rocket League. They wanted to put their game on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo really wanted it on the Switch, of course. So their only stipulation was it had to have crossplay with both PC and Xbox. And Nintendo was like, whatever you need to do. And so that's why that game has crossplay with Xbox. You know, Microsoft, the same thing with Minecraft, right? Mm-hmm. Like, right now, PlayStation 4 owners don't have that update, you know, for Minecraft, which is a huge game. It's like, might be the biggest game out, and PlayStation owners don't get to experience it because Sony says no to the crossplay. Now, listen, I'm not one of those kumbaya, let's party up and play every single game with PlayStation gamers, but for a game like Minecraft or whatever, like, I don't think that would matter one bit. PUBG could be that game. I don't know. Like, for me personally, I would probably still stick to playing with my own people. You know, I know that sounds bad, but I would just play with Xbox.
That sounds really bad, Crap.
I know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what. Thanks, Game Maker. Yeah, I mean, like Xbox people. You know what I mean? On Xbox Live. No, I don't want to play with no PlayStation people, or I specifically don't want to play with no PC people. You know what I mean? Like, for me personally. But I think it would be huge for them to lock up PUBG for just
At
lock
least
it up.
a year?
Yeah, or longer, if not forever. Because here's the thing, right? These people, the developer, they haven't even released this game yet on PC, and it's already at 13 million, right? Do they really want to spend? Yeah, do they really want to 14 million, whatever? You know, do they really want to waste their time? You know, and it like separate, like they're still kind of a small developer. Like they're going to be running around like a chicken with their head cut off all over here. The only reason the Xbox version is coming along as it is because Microsoft is investing money and they're investing their own team. Mikey Barra's team is over there helping them, right? And apparently this isn't a new thing because, and we'll talk about this a little bit more too. Did you see that Dual Shockers thing with the Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox One X, Tim?
Yeah, that's what that.
Yeah, like that interview, right? And he's talking about how Microsoft was helping them along the way. Like, Microsoft is not only making this amazing console that's easy to develop for, they're helping these developers put their games on the thing, right? They're helping them along the way. So this is absolutely huge. And so they're actually doing this. The thing that I don't want to see as a fan is Microsoft investing all this money, all this time, they're sending their only people over there, publishing the game, only for it to help it come faster to the PS4, right? I don't want to, like, yeah, I don't want to beta test. I don't want to do that. You know, if you're going to lock up the game, lock it up for a year. I can see an advantage in that for a new IP. Like the Rise of the Tomb Raider year exclusivity, I don't know, because that's a well-established game. Probably wouldn't work as good. It did really good. You see, a good example is Titanfall, right? Would that game have like 10 million or 11 million people on it? The first one. And the second one bombed, especially on PlayStation. It did much better on Xbox, even though it didn't do great, because it was a new IP established on Xbox first. Same thing with PUBG can do that because it's a new IP. Get that established on Xbox first, and it's going to be associated with Xbox. Not only that, but Xbox Live is confirmed to be better. You have the Elite controller is just better for these types of games. You know, like I'm playing the Battlefront 2 beta. I played it on the Pro. I played it on the Xbox One using my Elite controller. I suck with the DualShock 4 controller. It's horrible. Horrible.
Yeah. Another thing about this, I don't think that a lot of people are getting into it. That's one side. Okay, they went over. Bluehole went to everybody. They even was in talks with Tencent. It was a publisher. Yeah, that was a publisher that
they own part of Epic, the majority of Epic now.
Yeah, and they went to talk to them. They were talking about doing a mobile version. They've even split up. Bluehole is split up, and the team that's working on a
mobile version of PUBG.
Well, they're talking. They were in talks. This was all where this talks came, and then I'm pretty sure they went to talk to Sony as well. And they also were they split up, and there's a studio in Wisconsin, and they're also going to have the South Korean studio out there as well. So I don't know what all is going on, and I don't think they all know what's going on. I think they're knowing that they're a player. There's a lot of people that wants to get their games involved. But the one thing that in that article that I read was that this guy was a stickler about servers, dedicated servers. He had to pay for dedicated servers out of his own pocket because he didn't want anybody to come after him for his game. So PlayStation I don't know if PlayStation is going to be a big player when it comes to, hey, look, Xbox, they're saying that, hey, you want to get our you can use our servers, but that's giving money
You
to
can use
Xbox.
our server.
Yeah, you can use our server.
You can use our one server.
Yeah, and I don't think PlayStation is going to go for that because it's just like what Chris is saying. Bluehole is probably going to want them to say, hey, look, we could do crossplay, and that's more money going into this game, in this platform. Or Xbox could try to do the Minecraft thing. They can say, look, we can take care of it. We pay for everything, and it can be on multiple platforms. That's another win-win for them. So
that's a possibility. But now let me ask you. Let's ask the panel that if they do that, are you pissed off because now they're not again playing to the exclusivity tie that fans seemingly want?
All right, my whole thing with this is if they're going back to the table, if they're renegotiating and stuff like that, nothing less than exclusivity. That's what I would say. If they are bringing everything back to the table and they're saying they're trying to extend the exclusive, no, you got to make it an exclusive game. It's all or nothing, in my opinion. Like I don't believe in extending the time more that a game isn't on another platform if they're already planning on putting it there anyway. You see what I'm saying?
Well, what I worry about is if they buy it and then they're like, "Hey, it's like Minecraft, go to all platforms."
Oh my gosh, that would be horrible! Don't do that, Bill.
Well, okay. The thing for me is that
Don't do that, Phil.
This game is very popular on the PC. The one thing about PC, that once they like something, they continue to like it. But for the console space, it's totally different. Nobody knows how this game will be 6 months to a year from now. Is this game, because there's going to be so many other games, Red Dead, and so many other games out there that's going to have online that's going to get the attention. And you still got Overwatch. There's going to be some update to Overwatch somewhere down the line. So if Microsoft, whatever Microsoft does, that makes the game stay on Xbox longer, I'm with it. If they do the Minecraft thing, hey, it's still an Xbox property. And in my case, it's still, even though it's on a PlayStation or Nintendo or whatever, it's still, they're the one recouping all the money, and that money goes into, the Xbox brand, and that helps out for more game development and things of that nature. So I don't know. It's a win-win. I agree with you, Bot. I would like the game to be exclusive, but if that's the route that they would go, then it's a win for them. They're making money, and the game is technically theirs.
Yeah, I just hope they're smart with it. When you lack games like they have this year, it's a little bit of a weird situation because I know we're all the first to admit we're dry. You know what I mean? Like we do that. And I'm not saying that Sony's had an amazing year because for me personally, I haven't really bought that much in terms of what they've offered. I bought Horizon.
You didn't buy
Zero Dawn.
Miho?
No, I didn't buy. I'm not a Nihon fan. I'm not really a Yakuza fan or a Gravity Rush fan.
Nobody's a Gravity Rush fan.
I know.
Hell,
I know, man.
even they're not in this. That's why they're closing, shutting the servers down.
Yes, sir.
A year after.
Yeah, a year after. I mean, that's pretty
Where's
damn
the
bad.
outrage for that? Come on.
Well, there is no outrage because there's nobody to be outraged because nobody bought the game. So,
All right, fair enough.
I mean, honestly, like I was thinking that too. I'm like, where is the outrage? Now there should be a little bit of a, hey, that's a dumb move by Sony, but I can see why there's no outrage considering that nobody bought the game. So what can you really do about it? Nothing. Honestly, nothing, because the game didn't sell. It was a list war game, just like Godzilla was a list war game. It was, believe it or not, it was.
Yeah,
I remember people were listing.
Mike Warrior, famously, we made fun of him for he hyped that up against the AAA.
Look how good that game looks! Oh, Godzilla, and I bought the game for $5 when it was on sale and reviewed
Just
it.
to laugh.
And yeah, it was horrible. It was like a PS2 game or something. It's a really bad game. Like those types of games shouldn't be in list wars. Now there are legitimately some good games on PS4. But I hate it when the people act like there's nothing good on Xbox here's the big thing that I've noticed, right? People are like, you guys are still playing Halo and Gears and Forza, and it's like, well, you know what? They are constantly updating those games, and they're multiplayer focused as well. So those games don't really go out of style, and you can go back to them, and people keep playing them for long periods of time. Whereas on PlayStation, it's like when you beat Uncharted, you're done with it. When you beat The Last of Us, you're done with it. When you beat Horizon Zero Dawn, you're done with it. Yeah, it's like the week later.
DLCs in Team Blue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's funny, right? Like, I thought Horizon Zero Dawn was a good game. I mean, it was a little lackluster in some areas. I thought in voice acting and, like, some of the controls. But,
I'll
good
be honest.
game.
I almost bought a PS4 just for Horizon Zero Dawn, but I didn't.
It's like you really like The Witcher, Chris. So you were probably thinking, man, Witcher vibes right here. Trust me, that game is no Witcher.
No,
you know what I mean. You would have been feeling a little bit of buyer's remorse at the end of the day with that one. But I mean, it was a good game for what it was, considering that was a developer that did that horrible Killzone series. So they had to do that because they had no choice. Killzone was going nowhere. Shadowfall was probably one of the worst games I've ever played. And I think Xbox, didn't you play that game and think it was horrible too? Yeah, I guess. What's going on? Yeah, the dawn. Oh, sorry, I didn't even notice that his mic is muted or whatever. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure that they had to do that because they couldn't carry on with that Killzone franchise anymore. And good for them. They did get kind of a hit out of it, but that's not a big hit in terms of like we still haven't seen that this generation. Like with the Xbox, it was Halo. With the 360, it was Gears. We haven't really seen that big hit from Xbox this gen. I'm not sure we've seen it from Sony either. Last gen they had Uncharted. Previous one they had like God of War. Like, what is it? Like, some people might go, well, it is Horizon, but that really kind of remains to be seen. We'll have to see how it does. I'm not really sold on that as being like a big must-have hit where everybody's like, oh my God, it's so great. So I think it really just kind of depends on what's going on. Speaking of the Rise of the Tomb Raider stuff. The developer, it's a little bit of a controversy. You read it, and what the comments on DualShockers.
It's the #1 GameStop article too.
Yeah, like that. So this guy, he developed the game. He says he compares it to the PC and the PS4, and he goes, "This is the highest fidelity version we've ever done on the Xbox One X. It's the highest because it's the only one that's true 4K that they actually build it for that way. Yeah, true 4K HDR. Apparently, it's not HDR on PC or PlayStation 4. Hard to say what I think about that because I have complained about it before. But then again, check this out. Some Call of Duty games in the past have been HDR on PS4, not Xbox. So I guess it all depends on like the updates and stuff. They were building this specific version for the Xbox One X. So I can understand if that's the only version that has HDR. I mean, I'm not going to throw a fit and go, oh, well, you should do it for PS4 too. Well, no, because they've been working specifically on this, and Microsoft is helping them, so that makes sense. Like it's not coming out at the same time or around the same time. So I can understand that a bit. But yes, people are losing their minds over this. These comments, Microsoft helped them. They got it running 4K. Apparently, even the stuff that they showed to Digital Foundry
alpha.
That they remember, that was alpha footage because remember how people were trying to go, it drops to 28 frames or whatever it was, right? That's alpha, and it's going to be even better. So I mean, to me, this really speaks to the power of the Xbox One X. They talked about pretty much how easy it was to develop for. Microsoft helped them out. That's what I like too. That was huge that Microsoft actually sends people out there to help these developers to make the best possible version of the game, because that's what we need as Xbox fans, and that's in the industry. That's what we should strive for. We don't want developers to go, well, I'm going to really strive for parity here. No, we don't want that. Like, that's bad. Like, I do videos against that.
No parity.
Yeah,
right?
Avoid those games. Like, that's why I do videos about that kind of stuff. Like, if you're going to do parity, right? Hey, Chris, I have that same helmet, right? Because it was on sale, that Killzone helmet.
Right.
It was that collector's edition was on sale, and I got headsets around mine too. I swear,
podcast for two right here, brother.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I bought that. They had that collector's edition for $24.99, and I bought it. I was like hell yeah, because the PlayStation collector's editions go down in price really fast because apparently they don't sell that well.
No,
I've always wanted like the Halo ones and stuff, like that Master Chief one with the helmet. but it was like so expensive, and like even now when you find them, it's still expensive. So I was never really able to get one. But with that one, I was like, hey, at least this is cool for my collection, and it was like $24.99. So yeah, it's kind of funny. But yeah, anyway, so Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is something that's really important. We want developers to push this thing to the max, to do what they can to give us the best versions every time. What is your guys' thoughts on this?
Oh, well, I guess I'll go in.
Yeah, jump on in, Game Maker.
Yeah, okay, now look.
What?
Yeah, anyway. This is some more great news. For every skeptic out there that's been trying to debunk all the positive talk about the Xbox One X, there's always a developer, a person that's in the know, that knows about this type of tech, understands that this is the real deal. And I'm loving that. And for the fact that Microsoft has been doing something behind the scenes that's trying to get the developers on their side, and that's helping them work on it. I mean, just like when we were talking about the what they're doing for Bluehole, or with the not with Bluehole, but the developer of PUBG, they was helping to do from Arc, and when they were like E3, and that guy was trying, and Keeley was trying to get the guy from Arc to say that the PlayStation 4 version was just as good as
yeah. He's like, what about the Pro?
He sent that shit to Hades, and I loved it because it's just coming to show that this behemoth that's coming is the real deal. And for everybody, the skeptics, for the $500 and all of that, this thing is well worth it. That's why it's going to generate a lot of buzz. And man, thank you, another developer. We're gonna be talking about another story about another developer saying that he couldn't go back. He can't go back after getting his game. Yeah, these are developers. These are people that are working on these games and got these dev kits. And man, that's fantastic. I mean, that everybody should be excited. Like, damn, this is where gaming is going, and Xbox are the innovators of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, listen. They, in my opinion, this is a game that leverages everything that Xbox One X can do, and in some areas Pro can't do. You can have ultra textures, the high resolution 4K textures. You can have the native 4K. Those two things are pretty, and you put the HDR, which is also available on other platforms, but you put that in, and you have a game here that pretty much is going to be one of the showcases for Xbox One X when it releases on day one. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, they would have had Crackdown 3, they would have had Sea of Thieves, but it didn't happen. They had, they had these delays. But the fact is that this game has always been somewhat of a benchmark. Maybe not a widely used benchmark, but PC gamers used to run this game at 4K. There was some 4K 60, and they said, "Wow, look at this game." Now you're getting it on a console, and you're getting it with all the bells and whistles of a PC, of a high-end PC, other than the 60 frames per second. But we do get HDR. Now, HDR is a huge deal. In my opinion, I think it is changing. I think when you see the games like Forza 7, and you see the HDR implementation, you see Gears, it really pops out. So now you're going to have another game that you're pushing out 4K visuals, highest fidelity visuals, and you're pumping out the HDR. So if you want to see this game in its glory, pretty much. You have two options. If you want 60 frames per second, you get a $3,000, $2,000 PC, a high-end PC, whatever. You don't want to argue how much you think a PC costs. Or the Xbox One X. And that's the beauty of Xbox One X. Yeah. Sony, for Sony guys, and I talk to a lot of Sony guys, for some reason they don't want to admit anything. The biggest mess up with Sony, with the Pro, the GPU is definitely limited. But the biggest mess up is the amount of RAM. The ability for Xbox to get PC Ultra textures, high-resolution textures. And I've said this for how long have we been saying this? Well, people were laughing at us, they didn't even understand.
They were telling me there's no such thing as 4K textures and all this kind of stuff.
Lying, right, But the actuality is that that's a huge selling point. I mean, you look at you look at the screenshots. You look at the screenshots of her pants, or you look at the screenshot of the rocks that people are going crazy about. they're saying, oh, it's there's no LOD, they're trying to dismiss it. The fact is that Xbox is running high 4K textures or high resolution textures, and it's a game changer in my opinion for console.
Tim, you hit the nail right on the head. Visually, what it comes down to with the Pro, and I'm not knocking the Pro, but what it is, where it falls short is exactly what you said. Within the textures, that's where you're gonna see the jump. That's where the games will pop out. And I mean, just look at any of the HD remakes, like the old Resident Evil when they did a HD remake for like this generation's console or whatever. The game, I'm sorry, you guys might have loved the game, but the game still looked like shit even though it was in HD. And that was because there was no change in textures. So with the Xbox One X, not only are you getting whatever resolution you want or whatnot, but you're getting that visual improvement with the textures. And that's what's really going to make these games look absolutely amazing on this machine, man.
Absolutely.
And you know how, I know it's been a little long-winded, but you know how big of a deal it is when you see Killer Instinct and it's 4K, you see the complaints. You're like, oh, well, it's using Xbox One textures. It's not using high resolution textures. Now there's no high resolution textures on PC, but people now are actually they see it and now they want it. And I think that's a good thing,
And I think that a factor that could happen between for the difference between the S and the X is the frames per second, because a lot of people are still making that an issue. And I think the more that these developers will have their hands on the X, they could, you'll have those tiers to where you can, hey, if you want this to be, not 4K and want it to be 60 instead or whatever, 1440p, all that crazy hoopla, you're going to have those options like you do on the Pro on certain games. And I think that that's going to be the big step in the factor for the people that are interested into frames per second and things of that nature. And also that the S is still going to have life, because after looking at Forza 7, like this system got juice. Like this game looks amazing. And so I think that those things will also enhance gaming as well, because the X is going to have more games that's probably going to have better frame rates going forward, because these developers are going to start having fun with this system.
Yeah. Hey, to the people in the chat, look, I sent you the link. I put it in there. The Xbox One X is running the highest fidelity. It runs 3 modes. You're going to be able to run 1080p 60. You're going to be able to run native 4K 30, or you're going to be able to run checkerboard 4K with the better visuals and stuff like that.
That's the one. That third one, that's the one I'm playing on, by the way.
That could be the one I'm playing on, or native 4K. It depends, really, because
the thing is, you're getting the improvement in textures. And crap, you know me, man. I'm not about the overall resolution. Yeah, it's gonna look crisper already and stuff like that. But you know what? Give me the checkerboard with all the 4K assets, the special lighting effects, the deeper shadows, all the different foliage and stuff like that. And really, I'm gonna be fully immersed in that game on that mode, man.
Yeah. Well, the high resolution textures span across all modes, just so you know. So on 1080p 60, you actually get the high resolution textures,
and won't the Xbox,
that's sick, right?
Won't it still up res anyways to 4K?
It's super samples and down samples as well.
Right.
So we do have that. Hey, everybody, hit that like button as we close in closer to 500 watching. Appreciate it, guys. But it's going to be interesting because, with Assassin's Creed Origins is a game that I'm absolutely looking forward to as well. And people are like, well, wouldn't you rather play? I'm fine with playing that game 4K 30. Just as console gamer for my whole life, it's not that big of a deal. For racers and for shooters, I would say that 60 frames per second would be something that is more needed. But I'm not going to complain because look, and I've even said this multiple times, and I've yet to have a PC dude approach me with something to get me to do this. I will switch to PC gaming if you can get me a PC for $500 that has everything I need. Controller, whatever, keyboard and mouse, operating system, that's sleek, that has a 4K Blu-ray player, able to cap 4K 60 HDR, if you can do all that stuff.
Cooling.
Exactly. If I can get a PC that does all that for $499, I'll switch to PC gaming, and I've yet to see anyone offer me anything. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. You are not going to find a better value than this. Not only that, but I was reading some articles as well talking about how it's kind of difficult to port games to PC as well, even though they're made on PC. That's why they end up getting lackluster versions sometimes. And the money is in the console versions of games. Hence, Bungie was the one that did the console versions, and then they had other studios work on the PC version. And some games don't even bother with PC versions, right? I cannot believe the amount of salt that I saw over Cuphead. You know what I mean? Like people saying they were going to pirate it and things like that. That blows my mind. But I did see this, and maybe you'll agree with this, Tim. If Microsoft is going to go ahead with Play Anywhere or releasing their games on PC anyway, Steam is the more viable option.
At this point, yeah.
If you want to help your developers actually get stuff, like look, Cuphead, what did that sell? 400,000 in the first 4 days on Steam.
A lot of money. Yeah, it's still selling. It's still.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, it's probably that game's probably well over 1 million sold now, right? I'm sure that we'll see a sequel.
It's a success. It's a huge success.
And I'm happy. Like Microsoft probably knows now that single player games, even though that's a small one, just like Ori, still sell. There's an audience for that, right? So I'm hoping that they continue to kind of to cater to that, realize that, hey, single player gamers still are out there, and there's still a market for that, even though those are like more on the cheaper end ones. You know, those are both like $20 single player games, but still, people still want that that buy Xboxes, you know, because most people think that just Xbox gamers want multiplayer only games, which isn't the truth. Like, I enjoy both. I enjoy the Gears campaign. I enjoy the Gears multiplayer. I enjoy the Halo campaign and the multiplayer. I enjoy Call of Duty campaign and the multiplayer. I love the campaign in Titanfall 2, and I think the multiplayer was a step back, but I still enjoy it. You know what I mean? So I'm just a big fan of that. I think it shows a lot that Microsoft, to Microsoft and Phil personally, that we still will buy this. If a game is good, we'll buy it. You know, and
100%.
I think that. Yeah, 100%. Like, look, Quantum Break, as much as I like that game, I can see why people wouldn't like it, too. You know what I mean?
TV stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of times, listen, I played Cuphead in 2015 at E3. Okay? It was a far different game. They took their time, and they did it the right way, you know, and it just goes to show you, like, I firmly believe if they held off on Recore and even Quantum Break, they could have had different receptions. You know, a lot of times with all this stuff, it's just the reception that it gets. And I do believe that if Cuphead was just the XBA title, that it would be getting killed. They'd be getting killed with the save bug on Windows 10. You know what I mean? They would say that this is a broken game. And then just like with Forza 7, reviewers and everyone has that mob mentality. And that is a real reality. And they would have probably shot that game down a little. But when you open yourself up to Steam, you kind of like say, hey, if it's still an Xbox, it's forgotten about. Like, hey, it's okay. You know, let's not attack the game. So I being that I think Cuphead is an awesome. It's a classic. It's going to sell a lot. I think we're going to see a physical release. You know, people who say Xbox gamers don't buy games now, you know, you got to eat a little crow, because I'm assuming we're going to get some PR this week or next week on how well it did, because it's done really good, and the thing about it, you know, the thing is like it sold well in the beginning. Okay, like its first couple of days, but the word of mouth, the streamers and everything pushed this game. You know, the first couple of days was like 235,000, and then like 4 more days later, it's like 435 or whatever the number was that they quoted. So the game is actually gaining momentum, which is a sign of a big success. So
you can't go wrong for $20.
It was a big thing for Microsoft.
It was actually #1 on Amazon for digital purchases too, and you don't even you know what I mean. So people were buying the game digitally there. I can imagine how many people were buying it. You know, on Xbox. And not only that, wait till gift giving comes in for everybody. Like Microsoft really has a lot of things going for itself for this holiday, right? Because how many people, like I'm digital now. You know what I mean?
That's a game you gift to anybody.
Yeah, you could gift that to anybody. That would be and it's $20, right? That's like right in the wheelhouse. So I can really see Microsoft is on the ball here. You can really tell that like they're going to make a lot of money with that gift giving as well, because people are going to buy a lot of digital stuff, and that's more money for developers. You know, because they make more money through the digital purchases and stuff than they do through the physical. And I'm fine with people if they want to get physical. I sometimes will get the exclusives. I'll get both. you know, because I like to collect the exclusives physically as well. But for the most part, I'm digital, you know, and I do game share with my brother. But, you know, it is perfect. And that game is hard as hell, but it's fun, you know. It's not like
too hard.
Well,
it's hard. Listen,
it's hard.
Opinion, it's very hard. But my opinion, this is the way you attack the game. If this is what I'm doing, and I think it works, you take it in short doses.
Right.
You do a run and gun, and you do a boss, and then you get the fuck out of there.
Right.
I don't know how these people like. When I heard
about an hour or two, hour and a half, and then I'm off of it. Yeah.
The way that I do it
go
is,
crazy.
When I play the boss for the first time, I'll play him on simple mode and usually beat him like the second or third try, and then I'm like, all right, I kind of got him. And then when you get his final form, you're like, oh, okay, that's why he's a little bit more simple, and there's a lot less things. Cuphead is a great game. Right now, it's my game of the year. There's nothing that I've had more fun with right now than Cuphead this whole year. Yeah. And I'm sure it's going to change with all the holiday games, but Cuphead's a fantastic game, and anybody that sleeps on it's silly.
Yeah, and you know what? It's give it a try for
$20.
For $20. Like, why not, right? And here's the thing, right? This is a game that these developers poured their heart and soul into because it's all hand drawn, and it took them years and years to do this. And Microsoft really helped them flesh that out. I'm happy that they were able to do that because the boss rush stuff is cool, but I do enjoy the more platforming levels a lot as well. You know what I mean? Like, and the cool thing is, it's frustrating, but it's not like you have to spend, you know, hours and hours on these levels because each level realistically only takes like a couple minutes. Mm-hmm. So once you get it down, you learn a little bit, you go a little bit further, you learn a little bit more, and you get a little bit further. That's really how it goes. I really enjoyed it. I think it's something that right now Microsoft has a very good portfolio, whether people agree with that or not. Like, even going back to the launch of the Xbox, like if you like hack and slash, you got Rise. If you like racing, there's Horizon 3 or Motorsport 7. Mm-hmm. If you like third-person shooters, you got Gears. It's got a great, robust
PUBG.
online. You got PUBG coming. You've got Halo 5. You've got Cuphead. You've got Ori. You've got Quantum Break, Sunset Overdrive. There's a ton of games. You got a really good fighter in Killer Instinct. Still my favorite fighter. I know a lot of people are like, no, but I haven't really tried
some of the
other ones. Yeah, I can't wait to fire that game up when it's 4K.
Best online net code out.
It is. That's what I'm talking about, and people can't really cheat on it, right? Like when you play it online, like they get put into a separate thing if they're people that like unplug or quit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what I like about it. So I think that is something that Microsoft has really done a good job at, and I'm thrilled. Like, look, people are like, Xbox One X can't do this, or it's not high fidelity. They're getting high to maximum settings that would be on PC on the Xbox One X, and they're doing 4K 60 as well with Forza, with Killer Instinct, with a lot of games, and they're going to get 4K on all their exclusives, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy that, you know, I can't wait to see what the update is going to be and all the crow that's going to be eaten when we see Battlefront 2, because I tell you what, I was playing that beta on the PlayStation 4 Pro, and it looked gorgeous. I did a Crap Little Founder, and I even said so. I said, you know what? Man, this game looks a lot better on the Pro than it does the S. That's not knocking the S, but of course, you know, I mean, look, it's a lot more powerful system. That game looked gorgeous on the Pro. Right?
Can I bitch about that real quick?
Yeah.
I can't even play the damn beta because all right. I've downloaded this thing 4 times now. I've downloaded it twice directly to the internal and to the external, and every time I cannot get past the user agreement.
Oh, really?
It won't let me scroll down. It won't let me.
You sure you didn't get banned?
No, this is a problem. This is actually a problem for multiple people. EA responded to multiple people about this, right? Saying that, hey, they're sorry about this, and it has nothing to do with which Xbox you have either. I was able to get right in, and man, it was just like I hopped in and went on like a 5 kill streak, then I went on like an 8 kill streak and a 10 kill. Like, I was just balling on this game on Xbox. I hop on PlayStation, I was getting tore up. You know, that controller, I don't know, man. It's not, I can't use it for multiplayer games on PS4. It's not for me. Like, if you like it, hey, good for you. But yeah, it's just not for me. Hey, we hit 500. Thank you guys. Woo! Hit that like button. And we got stiff competition going on right now too, man. And they say BGST can't make a draw. Come on, get at it.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
You know what's funny? Is that about that game? I was I watched the pro analysis, and I have to say it does look looks phenomenal. And then I read the comments on some of these forums, and you people are saying it looks horrible, looks like this. I have no idea. Like you talk, like it's so crazy how if you read the forums and you believe what you read, you would think that game is a piece of shit, a piece of garbage. You know what I mean? Like you look at it and but for me, when I look at it, I think that game looks insane. Like the graphics on it,
it looks good.
It's amazing. It's amazing no matter what console you play on. Here's the thing: it's 1296p on the PS4 Pro, right? Like that's a weird resolution, but it looks good. I played it on a 4K Samsung KS8000, and it looks really, really good. Now, when I play it on the Xbox One S, it still looks good, but it looks a little bit softer. And the colors are, I don't know, they aren't as there, and some of the things aren't as shiny or whatever, but it still looks good. You're going to get a good experience no matter what. But at the same time, I think that it gets me excited to see what the X is going to do, because I have a feeling that the X is probably going to be 1800 checkerboarded, up to 4K, maybe even a little bit higher, but it's going to look it's going to look that much better, and if they use the higher assets and things like that, because look, Witcher 3, that got a PS4 Pro update. It was a 140 megabyte update. So they ain't getting no assets, right? That's the big difference for me. Like with the Xbox One
When you
X.
see that as a when you see that, and like a lot of people are like, oh, well, look at your hard drive space. But when you see that, like, you're going to see that with Shadow of War. Keep an eye out on that.
Yeah.
Look at the pros. Look at what the Pro is downloading that, and then you look at what the X is. Now, if the X is now they're saying that game might be on for PC with the textures is 100 gig. If the X is 100 gig, guess what? You're getting the PC level textures, and that's when you start seeing those gaps. You then back to to what we were talking about previously about the extra RAM. You're really gonna see a difference in graphics and fidelity.
Go ahead, K-Man.
No, I was just gonna say I got a chance to play it, and I was having a hard time because it kept skipping and it was having some issues, but the game was still gorgeous. I mean, just running around and you seeing the birds. I was like, what the hell is that? And I shot it, and it was like, oh, they're birds. And I was just standing there and feasting and just the shooting when you seeing people with those jetpacks already and they jumping up and you see the smoke coming from the back of their I'm like, this is crazy looking. It's a great looking game. I just hate that it was so choppy. I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, I had those issues weren't only on the Xbox though. To be honest with you, they had issues on the PlayStation 4 Pro as well. Like so, and again, I'm not sure. That could be the alpha code still. Right. I'm not exactly sure. So I would expect that by the time it releases,
well, I had a lot of complaints. Like that's why I brought it up. It definitely did. A lot of people, and then a lot of people saying that it didn't look good. It looked too grainy and stuff like that. So I don't know. I have to obviously see.
I think it looks good. And if you guys want to check it out, I did the comparison video today, and I also did a thoughts on the game running on the X that I put out 1080/60 on YouTube. The game, it ran good. Like there was spurts where it ran really good, and then sometimes it would get a little bit choppy. But it did that on the Pro as well. So I'm not sure what the deal is. Obviously, they were dealing with some stuff because some people couldn't even get into either. You know what I mean? On the PS4 or the Xbox One. I was more interested. I was looking past that to see like when the game releases and it gets like its day one patch or whatever, if I'm going to enjoy it. And the class system was nice. Just the maps, the level of war was really nice. Like the depth of the game was really good, and I liked it. And again, that game has loot crates. We'll see if anybody hates on that. They're hating on Shadow of War. Like that game looks phenomenal. But that game, because it's partnered with Microsoft. So I mean, that's what I believe anyway. Because there's plenty of games that offer those loot crates. Like, doesn't Overwatch have loot crates?
Oh, hell yeah.
Why is nobody bringing that up? Is it because it's Blizzard?
Doesn't Destiny have
Destiny has it too.
Destiny has it,
They have some kind of paid shaders. What's the deal with the shaders on that Xbox? You only get, like, it costs a lot of money if you want, like, one shade of your character to be the same color.
They have microtransactions to buy these things called bright engrams, or you can actually buy the shaders at the store. They are one-time use. You need 5 of them, basically, if you want to, like, fully go with that one shader for your armor and stuff like that. You actually need 5 of them. But the thing is, like, there's also shaders throughout the map, like when you open up chests and stuff like that, when you break down weapons and go to the the guy that deals with the guns and all that good stuff. Like when you trade that in, you get shaders. You get shaders everywhere. So in terms of microtransactions, you don't have to buy all that shit. If you want to be nitpicky and specific, and you need this certain color scheme, and that's it, you're really close-minded on that, then yeah, you can go in and buy it if you want. But that's pretty much it.
You know, one game that I really wish would implement a little bit more microtransactions is in Injustice 2, and I'm not making a joke. I'm being serious. Okay, so they have a thing called the Legendary Multiverse. Now I made mention that I like messing around in the multiverse in Injustice 2, but in order to get into the Legendary Multiverses, there is so many things that you have to do just to get into the multiverse, to get legendary gear. Now, I wouldn't mind paying, $3, $4, maybe even $5 to get into that Batman Legendary Multiverse. I'm just saying.
I heard about that
That's the thing.
Legendary. Man.
It's like you're a bad person if you actually buy these microtransactions, or you're a bad person if you buy a pay to win. Now, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't pay attention to any of that stuff.
Who is it to have somebody get mad at me for if I want to spend my money, right?
Right.
Exactly, but I don't care. Like I actually, I think the loot things are fun. Like, I mean, not that, aside from all the politics, I actually, I like to gamble as it is. So like when I do the loot crates, I like to do, like, I buy the loot crates, and I don't, for me, it's what I like to do. But it's like, these people have such, they're so passionate about people buying microtransactions or having something that they that you can have, that you spent your money on, but you didn't play the game. For me, I don't know. I don't have any issue with any of that. I don't care what people do.
Yeah.
I don't care if somebody has a blue hat or with whatever type of logo.
Yeah, it's all aesthetic.
I don't care.
It's all aesthetics. Now, if they had a way for people to go in and buy like exotic weapons and stuff like that with their money when it comes to like Destiny, damn, that shit would be broken. I'm just saying, it would be broken. People would be like really PO'd about that. But when it comes to the aesthetics and stuff, or like what Chris said, buy your way into that multiverse and then do the work from there as well. I don't have any problems with stuff like that at all.
Well, the only thing that I would say to Chris about that, though, if you get those legendary gear, it does enhance their powers.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and so, you know what I'm saying, to pay for that, I find it,
but I'm more paying to get into the Legendary Multiverse, and it's just for Batman specifically.
Yeah,
right?
but the thing about, okay, people can do whatever they want to do with their money. I, myself, personally, I'm old school. I like to grind out and get it myself. Of course, I've used like on NBA 2K. I buy like haircuts and stuff like that. I think while people are over here bitching about Forza and shit like that,
you getting the fade.
Yeah, I'm getting fade. Even though I'm bald headed, I'm still
Megan's trying to be like D Brown.
I mean, I literally read a review where it said that you're forced to buy these.
Yeah. And that's the thing that if anybody wants to talk about an abuse to microtransactions, NBA 2K18 is the leader of it right now. I know that
you buy those coins, right?
And for the people out there, this is the most disgusting part about it. The game is fantastic. Well, the servers are still dog shit. I have no idea why they even brag and say they got dedicated servers when they're so broken when you try to play games online. But but if you paid for the Ultimate Edition, the $150 version, which is crazy as fuck anyway, in my opinion, for a game that comes out every year, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I love it, but that's crazy. You shouldn't have to pay for anything else in that game because you're showing the ultimate dedication to that game, to those developers. they should be rewarded. Like, look, that person paid $150. Any type of currency that we get, they get it every month.
Yeah.
All that. And you still,
I agree.
You still have to pay? That's crazy.
Yeah, if you pay over $100 for a game, you should get all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I 100% agree with that. At the same time, I understand the microtransactions and I like with Gears Judgment. When that, I know this, I'm gonna get some hate for this. I like the multiplayer in that. I actually paid for double XP in that. You know what I mean? I played that game a lot. I prestiged in that game like 3 or 4 times. So, like, I used to pay for the double XP. I know. I used to do that with Forza as well. Like, get the double XP, pay for that a little bit, because I didn't have the time with work and everything to put into those games like everybody else does.
Hard, man.
It is. It's hard to do, you know, as somebody in my 30s now. You know, when I was in my 20s, it was a little bit easier. But now, it's like, man, work, and then I'm tired. You know, so to be able to keep up with my friends and stuff, it was kind of cool. And now we see that some games are going the opposite way. Like, I can't stand the way Activision does it. They're still old school. They charge you for the season pass. It divides the community in their games. I hate that. At least EA with Star Wars Battlefront 1, it was terrible. $50 for a season pass. I paid $80 or $90 for the version of Battlefront 1 that came with the Han Solo blaster that used to give you like a one-hit kill, like on everything. It was so OP, and you basically were paying to win like that. And then they're like, pay $50 for the season pass, but we're not going to tell you what maps you're going to get. And the maps ended up being really bad, like for the most part. Some of them were fun, but a lot of the maps were just the other map at night, or the other end of that map in dusk. You know what I mean? It was like really, really bad. So they fixed it with Battlefront 2, and I'm super excited about that now, right? They did the right things. We're getting a campaign. They're doing space battles. They're doing you don't have to pay for the DLC maps, but there are microtransactions. I'll take microtransactions as opposed to paying for you know what I mean, map packs and season passes to divide the online community. I'll take that all the time, because you know how much money I've spent in Gears or Halo? $0. I've spent zero real dollars in those games. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll grind. I'll earn my stuff that way, because if the games are good, I'm going to play them.
I think it's fair if you can grind. The pay to win, I can see where people have an issue with it. Like if it's a one hit, or like if you were racing, you put a supercharger on your car, where you kind of alter the competitive nature of the game. That shouldn't be done. But if it's like cosmetic, or if it's something that you can collect. To me, I think we got to really chill out. Now, we've argued about about games, about the pricing of games. The fact is that these companies too are trying to figure out ways to make money. The industry right now is way out of whack. It's costing way too much money to make video games, and they're trying to come up with ideas. Now, there is, like I said, you have to have a happy medium where you can't destroy your game or make it unfair. But if you want to have some type of thing that's unique, or a unique color, or something that you can buy, I don't think anybody should have a say in that. I just think that's personal. But I do think that if it is something like a pay to win, that you shouldn't really, you should have a little trepidation with that, because you can destroy something. But Crap's point about keeping all the maps there and having everyone play on them and not segregating the maps is an interesting one. I'd rather have that too than having
where it divides it up. That was a big issue that I had with Halo 4, which I liked Halo 4 a lot. I even liked the multiplayer a lot, because it was kind of more like a Call of Duty style.
Yeah, with ordnance drops and everything.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I know some people didn't, but I thought that was awesome. And then, like, you could start off with a different class and stuff. I liked that a lot. And then what happened was, when they dropped the map packs, my friends didn't get the map packs, because they're like, I'm not paying for those map packs. You want to get them for me? And I'm like, no. You know what I mean? So basically, you that's what happened. I had to stop playing Halo 4 because my friends wouldn't buy map packs, and so they couldn't play the same maps as me, and it was a bad thing, and that's bad for gaming. So I liked what they're doing. Like Gears, you don't like that. That's a terrible season pass, because it doesn't make sense, because you get the maps for free, but if you want to play them offline, or want to play them like in a private lobby, you need to have the season pass. That's a ridiculous thing, but at least you don't need it to play the maps when you play multiplayer. Same thing with Halo. All that stuff is free. That's the way it should be.
Halo did it perfect, because even for people who want that itch to get something more powerful or whatnot, they made a separate mode where they had teams that were so big on each side that even if, you know what I'm saying, you had a more powerful rocket launcher or something like that, like somebody on the other team was gonna come at you with something as well. So you had the satisfaction of possibly getting something more powerful in your rec packs. All the customization when it comes to visuals, but then you also had the option to not spend a dime and still get it all, which I did. They did it absolutely perfect, yeah.
Exactly, 100% accurate. So what do you guys think about Phil Spencer going to Tokyo? This was something that a lot of people were like I think NeoGaf was kind of making fun of him.
They were mad. Yeah, they were mad.
Yeah, they were mad. For me, I don't, I'm not real big into a lot of these games, but I always want them to get whatever they can on the platform because that's just good for business. That's good for gamers. Just what are your guys' thoughts about this?
I was excited for the mere fact because I play the Japanese.
Yeah, exactly.
I say, of course you were, Mega.
Yeah, well,
hey, that's good.
Well, this is for the people who don't care about these Japanese titles. Okay, good. That's just no different than like if a person doesn't like card games or if they don't like.
Not everybody likes racers, but I still want Forza.
Right.
Yeah.
So seeing that God Eater 3 was coming to the Xbox, I was like, what? God Eater? Are you serious?
When they announced that?
Last night. I seen
no kidding.
Yeah. God Eater 3 is coming to the Xbox, and I'm like, oh snap! Now if they can get this Fist of the North Star game that I've been seeing the trailer for. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And that which means that Phil has been out there. He's doing his work. Again, for these impatient people out there that keep saying, where's this? Where's that? Things take time. And that means that man's went out there and he's proving to the gamers out there that he is committed to the Xbox brand. And regardless if you don't care about Fist of the North Star or God Eater or any other Japanese title that's ever been made, at least there's an audience for that. And even if they don't sell 500,000, at least is you have the option. The more games that's available to come to this platform, the better it is for all gamers that owns an Xbox. So to me, I think it's really huge. See, at first they were over here talking about where's the Japanese games? Where's the Japanese games? And then all of a sudden you got people over here making fun of him because he's out there trying to do the work.
Who wants it? Who wants it?
He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, right?
Like that's the thing. People just want to use that as an argument against Xbox. But what I do see with the trip is he's going there for business, and he's going there most likely to try to get some deals. And there are some games that Sony didn't publish or that are available that I don't know if they published. Like there's certain games that he can go after that have went to PC that even if it won't be the biggest thing, it'll be something that you could tout the library and say, hey, I listen to the fans. I do think that now Phil is real serious on the Japanese front, and I've had some conversations with him, and I've heard things.
And with that, Tim, did you see Tim just drop out?
Oh,
he's like, I heard things, and then they got him. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened, but yes.
Illuminati's real, ladies and gentlemen. He's back.
Hey, Tim, you heard things, and then they got you.
No, just that they're very impressed with the Xbox One X and the ability to hit 4K. And, listen, if you're an artist and you have the ability to make your art look better, there's an outlet for that. Why wouldn't you look into that? Like, why wouldn't if you're the game at Black Desert that that's a good looking game, why wouldn't you want to have that game look the best in 4K?
Hashtag no parody.
Yeah, so I think that there is a little there's optimism there, and I do think that we're going to see some Japanese support coming
two of the reasons why we might even see more Japanese support than what people might think is, one, Japanese developers love new tech. Like, that's just an absolute fact. And two is the Xbox One X is incredibly easy to develop for, so it's not really taking a risk. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these third-party exclusives, quote-unquote, that Sony has had end up going to Xbox, because it's not going to hurt the developers to do that,
Right.
and Microsoft might even, foot some of the bill if it's cheap enough, you know what I mean? There's no harm in trying, get a more well-rounded portfolio, because if Microsoft wants the X to be the best place to play all multi-platform games, you need all multi-platform games.
You said something smart there with how the people
It had to
of
happen
Japan-
eventually, Chris. I had
Right.
to say something smart. So.
No, but you're right. People of Japan are very tech forwarded, and a lot of what killed the original Xbox going all the way back to 2001 was the size of it.
Yeah.
There's nobody that can complain about the size of the Xbox One X. It is very small. It's getting a lot of horsepower out of such a small package, and it's going to sell like gangbusters, people.
Yeah,
You have a game like, let's just say, that's running 720p on Pro at some points. It's dynamic. I mean, listen, when you have a 720p signal, when you're upscaling it to 4K, you're gonna start. It's not gonna look great. But if for Xbox, they could probably get that game. Maybe around 1800 checkerboarding or 2160 checkerboarding, and that game will look that much better and run that much better. So, if you're a developer, just put yourself in those developers' seat. Your game is made. What your sales are probably dwindling now on the platforms that it's on. Why wouldn't you take a chance, especially if Xbox is saying, "Hey, we'll foot the bill"? Now, listen, the Xbox is probably not going to make great money on that, or money, or they probably might lose money. But the fact is like Crap was saying, if you want to make yourself the best place to play, and you want to say you're listening to fans, and you want to say that you have a diverse lineup, you got to show some good. So I think that with the struggles that Xbox has had, especially with the cancellation of Scalebound, that this is an area that's very doable to get some games. I mean, you could, legitimately throw some money, and this all points to the point where I do think we're in a different spot now than we were with this. You guys probably talked about it on a previous show, but with the promotion with Phil being VP or one of the 16 pillars, he definitely is not going to have the same restraints. He also doesn't have two pieces of hardware that he has just pushed down the pipeline, and with all the costs and all the research that he has to take on, they're gone now. Now it's strictly, you look at it, you got the best console, buy a lot. It's just about games now. So it's a focus. Like I've said, I've heard that. And there's a big change here, so I do think that Xbox, I think that we're going to get a real strong game show, whether it's a show that they do like PSX or at E3. I do think that there is stuff getting now put in the pipeline.
Yeah, because
I was going to say this as well. Yeah. Something that some of you guys don't really like, but I think that's going to be an added factor to that will enhance more Japanese games to come over. Play Anywhere. There's already a lot of PlayStation games on the PC that are exclusive on the PlayStation.
Good point.
Right now, and let's say for instance, Nier Automata. Right, there's a lot of people. It sold very well off of Steam. But it has no support. That game is still buggy and glitchy, and they just forgot about it. So if you have a Play Anywhere version of, let's say, a Nier Automata to come, and you doing it Play Anywhere, well, that game is going to get patched and it's going to get fixed, and that's still money generated to them, and that's bringing more popularity to the Xbox for having more Japanese games.
Yep, that's 100% could be the truth there. It'd be easy enough to port. Also, keep it in tune with the Phil Spencer stuff. He recently did an interview and said the Xbox One S and the X are Microsoft showing their commitment to gamers and gaming because he realizes that, people want that kind of stability with these companies and things like that. I thought it was very cool for him to say that, and a lot of people forget that because everybody's blabbing at the mouth saying they want to sell off the Xbox brand and spin it off and do all this, and then Phil gets promoted. He's like Satya's right-hand man now. He helped bring in, it was his call to do the Minecraft thing, got turned down with Don Matrick, and managed to push it through. Yeah, I mean, he's managed to turn around. Look, Xbox One, a lot of people want to act like it's doing horribly, right? It's not. The PS4 has just really done a good job this generation. I mean, it is. Whether you like the PS4 or not, whether it's deserved it or not, it's done really an amazing job at selling. But that doesn't mean that the Xbox One isn't selling or that it's done poorly. They've really come back a long way from where they were, and that's thanks to Phil. And you know what I mean? The fact that they pushed the S and the X within a year of each other, and they were completely, upfront about it, right? Like most companies wouldn't say, here's this console, and then a year from now we're going to come out with a new one, right? That would be like a horrible thing to do, you would think, but they were really out there and told everybody because they wanted to be upfront and let everybody know, hey, you can get the S. Like Chris, you didn't buy the S because you're waiting for the X, but I know some people will buy both and some will wait. That was really cool that they went out there and did that, because wouldn't some people be ticked off if they're like, here's the S, and then at this past E3 they're like, you bought the S, now here's the X. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would have been the wrong way to do it. Being what is that, translucent or transparent? Yes, transparent. Yeah, translucent. Yeah, my bad. Transparent is the best way to go about these types of things, and he's been real honest about that. He even said, hey, everything that he said has been really true, whether people want to believe it or not. When he said, hey, we're not going to open up your Xbox and have you upgrade it. If we did do an upgrade, it would be big numbers, not small numbers. You know what I mean? And both of those things are true. He said, hey, we've got games coming. We just signed deals. So I'm going to take the man for his word with those things. There's no reason to lie, because people are going to call him out in a matter of years anyway. You know what I mean? If we don't see stuff, we're going to know. And
next
like the
E3 is very important.
Super important.
Well, he knows that. But the thing is that you make a point where we talk about Phil and how he pushed about for Minecraft. There are stories, I'm sure, that'll never be told, that with Xbox One X, Phil, pushed that, in my opinion. He pushed that, and there was maybe resistance from certain people, like, you talk about the year, like, why, if you have an S, why would you need an X? You're dealing with people that, are talking budgets and are talking stuff like that. But Phil, really pushed for the hardware, and I do think that the early reception that Xbox One X got, really kind of had Satya look and say, hey, he pushed for this. I'm sure that he saw the people, the naysayers and stuff like that. And, you saw Satya talk about how Phil pushed for Minecraft even after it was shut down. And I think that, this thing where they put Phil in that position where the vice president was Satya saying, hey, I'm going to listen to you now. You know what? You're gonna be my gaming guy, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was that's a big change. And I've heard the word change being bountied around. You know what I mean? So I have to say, with all the stuff that Phil takes, and we said fire Phil and all those things that went on,
so stupid.
Phil really did push for the gamer, and he did push for not being inferior, because I got news for you. If there was no X, guess what we'd be talking about? How good Pro looks and how awesome it is to play on Pro Battlefront 1260. There would be no equivalent. There'd be no, hey, Xbox would be probably getting killed even more.
Because there's this 720p, blurry 720p.
Exactly. And if Xbox had 3 freaking big games this holiday, when we say games, it wouldn't make a difference. The Xbox was killed for 3 years straight with resolution, and that's a fact. And that's the people say, well, it was more expensive. It was $100 more expensive. Okay, what happened when it was $50 less than PlayStation 4? Guess what? Resolution Gate was still roaring.
Yeah.
And everyone was feeding into it and making jokes. Okay, so the fact is that they changed that whole narrative around, and for Phil, I think he's one of the biggest guys with that. Obviously, he's the head of Xbox, and his job might not be as easy as people think it is. They're in business, when you're spending a lot of money, or you're investing a lot of money, you got to have answers, or you got to say, hey, this is what's going to happen, or this is what we're looking at. And you're going to have people who say, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's selling off the freaking company. We should sell it off. That's just going to happen in any kind of business deal or any kind of office politics. That just goes on. So I do think that Phil's promotion was a big thing, and I do think that even all of Microsoft looks at him differently now than they did before.
Yeah, they're gonna definitely take his input, I believe, and I think you're right. Like he's done a really good job. You know, he's got him back. They're making money. I think a lot of people are like, well, they're not selling as much as the PS4, but they're making money. And they're actually appealing to a lot of people. They just have to be there with the games a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing the right things. The power narrative, because you have to play the multiplats better, and then also mix in some exclusives to go in there as well.
100%.
Yep, and that's exactly what I think Phil's got to get across, and I think we're going to see that change as well. Now that he's not having to deal directly with like Terry Myerson and things like that. Absolutely.
Going from here into next year, man. I know, crap. We've talked about this time and time again. When it comes to games, we already know of a bunch of games. A lot of them coming out, early 2018 for Xbox. Everybody's gonna have
Big year.
Their X and everything like that. This is gonna be absolutely amazing going in through 2018 as well, man.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, look, we had a bad year this year, but if we get the games that we're supposed to get, it's going to be a fantastic year next year. Big, small.
Well, when you say bad year, we had a bad quarter 1 to 3. We're having a good fourth quarter, in my opinion. You got Cuphead, which is a huge success. Forza 7, which is probably the best racing game ever made. PUBG, which is the biggest game in 2006.
Super Lucky's Tale.
Super Lucky's Tale is like an added bonus. But the thing is that, a lot of people were saying it wasn't even competitive.
Yeah.
You had that guy Jason from Kotaku saying, it's not even competitive. It's a joke now.
It's 3-1. They're selling them 3-1, and it's
no joke.
over. Yeah, like
you look at this holiday. It's going to be all Xbox. I mean, you have GT Sport versus all of that.
Don't forget, NAC 2 released, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares.
3,000 sold in Japan, wasn't it?
2,600 sold in Japan.
Yeah, so I mean, like, well, what's funny is a lot of people go, well, it's sold. The first one sold really well, and I go, what the hell else was out that launched with the PS4? You had NAC. You had Killzone Shadowfall, and you had Resogun. You know what I mean? And they bundled NAC with the PS4s in Japan originally.
Well, you had Injustice, the first Injustice, too. That was their version of competing against Killer Instinct, which it got hammered. I mean,
I forgot all about that. For some reason, that was exclusive for like the remaster or whatever. That's kind of funny. But it's like most people, had already played that on PS3 or Xbox 360, so I don't think it was that big a deal. Like for me, when I saw Killer Instinct come back, that was a big pushing reason why I bought the Xbox One. I was like, Killer Instinct when I heard the voice, right? Like so many people were caught up in the DRM and this and used games, and when I heard that, and I was caught up in the games, Killer Instinct coming back. That was one of my favorite fighters.
They played that music on the stage, like everything got dark and you heard do do do. I was like, oh!
You guys remember how like some of the fallout from even that Killer Instinct demo from that E3 about how the guy made a supposed rape joke?
No.
When it was one of the developers was playing one of the Microsoft girls, and he had a fight stick and she had a controller, and he said, well, don't worry, it'll be over quick. And then she says, well, it's because you have a fight stick, doing their little banter. And people on NeoGAF and everywhere else that were trying to hate that Xbox, they were trying to say that was like a rape joke and that he should apologize.
All that stuff is going crazy all around still.
Yeah. That's like the FUD stuff, you know what I mean?
Like Wolfenstein and all that stuff that's going on now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like everything. Everybody's looking to be kind of, offensive.
Cuphead's racist.
Yeah, because it's the 30. I saw that, right? Like somebody's like, I want to like it, but I can't get it because because cartoons were racist in the 30s. Like, what does that have to do with the cost of, a latte? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have anything to do with each other. Like, people just
nothing to do. Yeah,
people are just stretching for reasons not to like things because it's Xbox, and that's something that Microsoft, at least they're kind of nipping that in the bud. Like, you see that guy on Twitter was like, you got to pay for 4K updates, and Mikey Barr was like, no, what are you on? You know what I mean? Like, like this is the stuff that people have to get across. That this is like, and look, remember the power consumption issue? They've already jumped ahead of that too. Like this one, the X uses even less power, and its power is based on the apps that you're using. So if you're using Netflix, it's using even less power than it normally would. So like this is great. Like they're really getting ahead of the little nitpickers and things like that. The people that want to kind of say the Xbox
download
is this 4K, or that.
Your 4K assets a month early.
Yeah,
it's so funny how they have been able to pick apart everybody's little bitch about the Xbox One with the Xbox One X. It's hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what happens? You know what really happens, and you have to give them credit. But what happens, and you start to see it. You start to see the bandwagon jumpers now. You see GameStop saying, Xbox One X is the most incredible Tomb Raider, and you see things that you would never have seen 2-3 years ago. So I do expect a lot of bandwagon jumping. That's just part of being popular, or being, it's just part of the process. I'm not going to be salty about it. We obviously know there's a lot of hypocrisy and bullshit that goes on, but it's just going to happen. You're going to start to see that. I do believe when X comes out and it's out there and people see, and you see the Digital Foundry face-offs, these Digital Foundry face-offs aren't going to be pretty for some games.
Yeah.
You're going to start to see people say, yeah, I like Xbox, and not.
Here's the thing, guys, and I said this before. People that are just gamers and wanted to play the best versions of games, so that's why the 360 was so good, because it had the best versions of multiplats and it had good exclusives too. And then when the PS4 came out, I never really held a grudge to the people that just went with PS4 because it had better versions of games. Now, it wasn't a big disparity. Like the PS3 really played games bad at points. You know what I mean? The Xbox One hasn't really had that yet, where it was really, really bad. Like there was some games like Skyrim, the red box, or the orange box and stuff like that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, orange box. Yeah, the orange box wouldn't even work. Like these are the types of things we haven't had that with Xbox, thankfully. So, for like this will be the last point that we'll bring up tonight. That game called The Artful Escape, which is an interesting looking indie. It's that one where the guy's playing the guitar and stuff. Looks very vibrant and pops. They asked him why the game's going to be exclusive to Xbox, and he said, and I quote, after seeing it 4K 60 on the Xbox One X, he couldn't go back. And he said basically, developers want to put their games in the best light. They want to show it off as best they can. This is the thing that developers need to do going forward, right? We want them to do that. Like, if you're a developer, do you want to show yours off on lesser products? Like, for some reason, Shadow of War, right, or Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, the new one, that more people are reviewing that on PS4 for some reason, right? Probably because the X isn't out yet, and the PS4 version might have a better resolution or whatever. You know what I mean? Right. Like, this is going to happen a lot with the X when it's out. It's going to get a lot of the review copies. You're going to see a lot of developers go all out for it, and this is what we need to see in the future. Like, what is your guys' thoughts on that real quick, like, in terms of maybe developers going exclusive to Xbox? And Mikey Barr has said it's up to developers if they want to put something exclusive on the Xbox One X. Like, they're not going to, but developers have options to if they wanted to. Like, if they just wanted to take advantage of the X, they can.
Yep.
See, me and Mega, we deal with a developer every Saturday.
Yeah,
and he said the exact same thing. It's like when developers are making their game, to them this is their artwork, right? And they want to show it in the best light possible. I can definitely see like the review copies and everything when they're coming through the pipeline. All of a sudden, there is going to be a definitive shift where they're going to start giving out the Xbox One X versions of it, because that is the best one when it comes to the visuals, when it comes to the performance, everything like that. It's going to be the top tier title out of like all the multiplats and all that good stuff. It's bound to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I got a question. because say like a game is being marketed by Xbox, case in point the new Shadows of War, right? How come it's being reviewed on PlayStations if it's
because developers have the right to ship whichever version they want.
Okay.
Right?
I figured they would have to ship what they had the marketing deal with.
Well, no, because even back when the Xbox One launched, it had the rights to the map packs and stuff for Call of Duty for the first 2 years. So Ghosts and Advanced Warfare were both Xbox One, and they still reviewed them and shipped out the PS4 version because higher resolution. So
going forward after November 7th, we can expect.
I would expect I would expect to see more reviews on the X, just because that's going to be the place where most people are going to get the better experience. So,
yeah. I think. Go on.
I was just going to be real quick. I was just going to say that you also see other people's channels that like get early access and do that. They'll make or if they show trailers. There's this one guy, I can't think of his name right off the bat. He every time that he shows a game trailer of some sort, he's always showing the PlayStation logo right behind it every time. And even though, you know what I'm saying, and you know, I don't think anybody can do anything about that. It's because since it's his channel, and I know a lot of people do that. So it's just one of them things, man. You just got to show your gameplay and whatever.
Hopefully the power of the X attracts more developers to do that, though. You know what I mean? That's what the hope is going forward. And hopefully we see that. I'm going to go ahead and do some outros. Tim, what do you got going on?
Not much. Just I'm on Twitter, and I think I have a podcast tomorrow. Xbox Uncut. I'll be on. We might be on, but other than that, you know where to find me.
Hell yeah. Let's see. It's K Mega. What do you got going on, bro?
Man, I'm still playing this Forza 7 while we were doing the podcast. Man, love this game to death.
Damn, I can't do that, man.
You turned it into John Doe on me, man.
I thought I kept hearing the little click, 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 adjusting a thumbstick.
Yeah, adjusting the sticks, man, trying to keep it going, man. I just can't stop playing this game.
Buying loot crates.
No, yeah, with hard-earned cash that it's not even available that you can buy it with. Anyway, but for anybody out there, I want to see some gameplay of Knack 2. What is that?
Xbot put up the demo.
Did you?
Yeah, he had some demo footage.
Full copy, because you know what? Did anybody get it?
No.
Anyway, man, it was a pleasure to be here, man. As always, check me out on my channel, KMega405, the GRG podcast every Friday night. Man, and again, man, BGST, man, we still doing it big, man. And shout out to Z out there, man.
Z, yeah. Hopefully you feel better, man. We'll get you in here next week. But we wanted to carry on. I specifically wanted to do this because Mooch was out this week as well, so we did no MNC, no Crossfire. I was kind of jonesing to do a podcast, so I was like, hey, man, let's go ahead and do it this week. Xbot, what do you got going on, dude?
Dude, I am absolutely everywhere. I am on a Wednesday morning podcast on Oh Snap It's Mel's channel.
Consoles, casuals, and
coffee, casuals, and consoles. You can just crap because it's you. You just say CCC.
CCC, yeah. It is a good show, though. You guys do a good job.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man.
Danny Boy's on there too, which is always funny because he's if anybody don't know, he's Yoshida when he does the MNC stuff, and it's so funny because it's just him. It's just Danny Boy. Like
his Yoshida voice and him are exactly the same.
It's the same. So. That's what's so funny about it, right? So it's hilarious. Yeah,
not only that, Crossfire every Friday. I have a podcast on my channel called The Next Podcast. I think K Mega knows something about that. Yeah, the Dawn of Dark Optimus or Goldblum Predator. Predator has been tearing it up on this
Predator's
show,
a good dude, man.
Dude, he is so knowledgeable with games and stuff, and he is out there in like the Best Buys and stuff like that, trying to let people, what are you doing with the Xbox kiosk, man? What's going on with that? So, yeah, huge, awesome panel with that. And if you want, follow me on Twitter at Xbot448. You'll know when I go live on whatever show I'm on, man.
Absolutely, Chris Steele. Who?
Yeah.
What do you got going on, man?
I got a couple of different things going on. I got my solo podcast, the Chris Steele Program, available everywhere. I just launched a new show with my pal, the Creep Queen. It's called Double Penetration Podcast. It's a sex relationship help podcast, and I can make some silly dick jokes from time to time. I have a website for that, doublepodcast.com. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Chris Steele. That's MrKrisSteel. I practice this a lot, boys. Woo!
Yeah, well, actually, I listened to that, and it was a really good, funny podcast. I have to say, it was really good. You guys did a good job with that podcast. Make sure you guys send Z some love on Twitter, like Tim just said in the chat. He's not feeling so great. He's had some things going on, and just give him some well wishes. Tell him you're thinking about him. BGST wouldn't even be here without him, but I wanted to carry on anyway today. Everybody did a great job. We ran through some topics. 2 hours later, hey, we're out. We'll catch you guys next week. Have a great week. Thanks for watching.